Welcome to my podcast, Unplugged, where psychology meets brutal honesty. I'm Claudia Flavin. I'm an occupational psychologist, a single mum, and a part-time alcoholic. On this podcast, I will tell you what your family and friends just don't have the courage to tell you. Stay plugged and let's meet our first guest, Tremaine Thomas-Young. Hello and welcome to my Unplugged podcast. I'm Claudia Flavin. I'm an occupational psychologist, and in this podcast, we talk about everything from mental health through resilience to entrepreneurship and parenting. On today's episode, we're going to interview Tremaine Thomas-Young, who is the founder of Deploy Underground, and he's basically going to be talking to us about the whole reality that there is behind being a founder of a media company. So, Tremaine, lovely to have you today.
Hi.
Right?
Hey. Hello. So good to see you.
Take a seat. Make yourself comfy.
I brought this for you.
Oh, what did you bring me? So good for my health. Thank you. I shall put this here. How have you been?
Busy.
Okay.
Busy. I've been really excited about this conversation. Look, it's really cozy here.
It is. I hope it is.
Wow.
Thank
It's
you.
really cozy. Well
You have a
done.
good designer.
Yeah, well, Yeah.
Sorry, you were saying you wanted to tell me something.
Yeah. So, well, first, thank you for having me on your first podcast, your first exposure
My
to
pleasure.
people. It's really great. And I mean, uh, look, uh, things have been very interesting with starting this platform, and now it's live, and even I'm starting to get feedback from people, and there is this vulnerability that happens. Can I take my coat off?
Yeah, sure. Sorry, make yourself comfy.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. There's this vulnerability that happens that um, when you put your baby out for the world to see, and I think that's currently where I am.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that for me, it's been really interesting to have this opportunity to speak for artists, to speak for creators, also to provide a platform for people to speak and share their values, their views, um, things that may necessarily be not so pleasant for the general public.
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, so we're already getting into how Deploy is a platform for rebellion.
Okay.
What we find in the current landscape with all these corporate media companies is that, and mainstream media companies, is that things are really funneled through the lens of whoever's funding that enterprise, who's ever giving advertising dollars to that. And I think what Deploy was made out of, well, one, you kind of know the story a little bit, is it's made out of when people doubt you. My experience with Deploy, as you know, was 4 years ago, all I had was this logo. That's literally all I had was a logo. It said Deploy and me and this fuel to provide a platform for artists. That's it. I just knew that the landscape was changing. I knew that creatives didn't have there was a large threat against what does it mean to be a creative? What does it mean to be an artist? What does it mean to be a writer? What does it mean to be someone who creates something out of nothing? And I wanted to make sure that in this lifetime, I was able to provide at least a platform for people to share their views, unfiltered, unfiltered views. So that's where I am. I'm in this, to be honest, I'm in this very vulnerable state.
Okay.
But it feels great.
Okay.
It feels great.
So it's vulnerable, but it feels great. I definitely want to kind of.
Yeah.
Can you explain this a bit more to people?
So, to you guys, um, my background is really kind of everywhere. I mean, I studied fashion. I moved around the world. I've lived in San Francisco. I've lived in New York. I've lived in Spain. I've lived in Madrid. I lived in Paris and London and all these big cities. My family is from Los Angeles, originally Pasadena, California.
Mm.
And I think now what I mean by that vulnerability is I'm starting to realize everything I went to has kind of led up to uh, the person that I am now. Like
Mm-hmm.
the person that most people who I haven't talked to in many years would probably be shocked in the way that I respond to situations or the way that I even project my image into the world.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that I'm projecting my image into the world, most people would be shocked by that. So there's this coming out that's happening. And that's where the vulnerability meets this like spiritual deepening
Mm-hmm.
of maybe understanding what my purpose is here on this earth. And also, how do I want to be, what legacy do I want to leave in this
Mm-hmm.
world? Mm-mm,
So that's for the more vulnerable part, I guess.
mm-mm.
And then you're saying you're also super excited.
Super excited. Okay, super excited because there's a lot of things right now that are going on within the Deploy platform that for me, I think it's kind of putting fuel and gas into what is already burning behind the scenes. Um, for those of you guys who don't know, Claudia is also kind of my right hand in this process of creating something for the audience.
Yeah.
And it's so nice to normally I'm on the other side of this. Normally, yeah. Normally I'm asking the questions and um uh for me, this is the only place where I would want to have my first kind of exposure, the rawness of like how I got to this point and why I wanted to build this platform, and a few people who pissed me off along the way, actually, you know, because that's the rebellion about Deploy is that, look, I've been rejected every step of the way. You've even seen some of the rejection. I tried to do fashion design when I was a younger guy, maybe a bit too excited, you know. I tried to start several businesses that just never seemed to build its momentum.
Mm.
I am an academic, but I've found a lot of flack in my own personality traits and the way that I interact with academia that seem to be problematic with a few other researchers and academics. Um, and within the general population of like being and this sucks to say this, I don't care about this, but it's a fact, is being a black man, black American man, and being gay and having to deal with the bias and racial stereotypes and just the general misunderstandings that happen because that most people don't identify, um, that not everyone lives in that world. So Deploy was birthed out of that energy. Like
Okay.
everyone is accepted. Every voice needs to be heard, whether people like it or not.
Mm.
If you don't like it, don't read it. If you don't like it, you don't need to come to this space. But what we do want to do is provide a place where everyone feels like they can be heard. And that's it. So
Cool.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that just brings a lot of depth to the whole where does deploy come from, but also your background, because like you say, usually you're behind the camera asking us questions. Um, I think what I want to ask you is like, what are the core values that you want to convey
Yeah.
through deploy? Because I think that's something that's quite unique and important to share.
Yeah, I mean, that would go directly into my own spiritual beliefs.
Okay.
And I know we were hinting towards that because I do about close to 3 months of retreat a year where I don't necessarily interact with the public as much. I meditate, I write, I reflect. I do a lot of like vocal therapy at home where I'm walking
Vocal
around.
therapy.
Yeah. Well, I call it vocal therapy. I don't know if that's the medical term for it, but you know, I have moments where I'm walking around home and my house, and I'm actually just uh, releasing some of the pressures, releasing some of the things that I want to say to people that I probably shouldn't say to people, you know, so that I'm able to arrive at these moments more clear and not so fueled, you
So
know.
you're like practicing
I'm
at home.
releasing, yeah.
Okay.
Like one example would be, you know, one problem that I had with people who are who assume things. We're not going to say who it is, and we know who we're talking about, but people who assume things about other people and don't necessarily ask for the clarity, don't ask for the like don't ask that person to clarify what they actually mean. They just leave it as this is an assumption about that person. And in this situation, I discovered this like, oh wait, my house is a space of protection.
Mm-hmm.
It's a space that most people aren't allowed in, you know, and it's not to sound like egotistical or anything. It's just that you ain't allowed in my house. I only allow like people who are living in some form of positivity, giving and growing, or else your energy will be rejected from my space. And with that, I've learned that my interactions with people became more fluid, became more honest, and in some aspects brutal, like brutally honest. But all of that came from like the gift of retreat, doing these retreats for 3 weeks at a time. My phone's cut off, my Wi-Fi's cut off. I walk everywhere, and these things came as like a gift.
Mm.
I think it's a gift to be able to turn it off and to focus on like exactly what is going on with you. You
So
know,
it's like
what's
a
going
gift
on with you.
and it's a value. So there's like the brutal honesty pillar. You mentioned retreat. Is there another one or two that you feel are important that represent you,
Creativity.
platform?
Yeah, like what else are you going to do in that time? I mean, I spent a lot of that time creating, working on music, writing, books. I do tarot cards as well online, which is my underground thing that most people are going to discover now, which you're more than welcome to discover. This is what I look like. You don't see my head, you know, you just see my body. But I go deeper into spiritualism. I read a lot. I read anything and everything I can find, and I pray.
And one of the
Meditate.
values that I feel really transpires through the website is summarized through one of the sentences, which is art is a form of rebellion. Do you want
Yeah.
to tell us a bit more about that?
I mean, well, we can start with Banksy, but that's a whole other form of rebellion. But I mean, the one thing that is innate to human being is this one ability that we all have. And this ability is revolution in itself.
Mm-hmm.
And so we could talk about it in the current landscape of artificial intelligence being able to do everything that human can do for now. Well, what we think. And art has always been kind of the leader in many ways in revolution. It's been the way for people who were silenced to be able to speak. It's been a way through therapy. Come on, like art and therapy is a way to
Yeah.
release what inner demons you're facing, or not even demons. It could be a form of happiness as well.
Mm-hmm.
But for me personally, art has always been the way to identify where I am in a certain period in my life.
Okay.
So this whole deploy thing is a form of just uh, uh, a big artist expression of, I think, what has been coming after developing it for like 5 years. And then finally, um, releasing the platform and being open to new creators to come in and see how I can help them platform their art and get exposure. I think that's my main purpose.
Well, that brings me to I was going to ask you what is art, because I distinctively remember before meeting you my definition or preconception of art.
Yeah.
But actually, do you want to tell us a bit more, because of the type of people that are on the platform?
Yeah, I think it's best because my definition of art, that's just it's silence, right? Because we were even talking yesterday about some philosophical aspects of life. But yeah, I think it's better to talk about the people on the platform.
Okay.
As this platform is not for me. I'm just going first. I'm going first for several reasons, but we can start with Khalil.
Okay.
And he's the animator and he was one of the first who was on board with Deploy, like the first class of people who kind of jumped on board. And he has animation. You can find him at King Kel on Instagram, or go to the Deploy website, and his creator page is there. And he does this amazing kind of like grungy hip hop, like revolutionary animation, And for me, I thought, wow, this is very, it's a rebel. It's just pure rebel. And his personality is very much like mine. Like he's kind of hidden in the distance, and then all of a sudden a new episode will emerge, or a new character will emerge. And I don't want to talk too much about his animation so that people can go to the website and see it, but he was the first one where I thought, wow, uh this is some rebel revolution starting here. There's something shaking here. Um and then you came on board, and that was where humor actually took a whole new level. Humor, self-care, being true to you. Like that's where I think this element of Deploy came in, talking about single mothers and what single mothers go through, talk about mental health. So that was like the new layer of like, oh cool, like it's turning into a space where we actually are like healing and aiding people in this process of discovering what's going on creatively. Uh, and then there's some new additions, There's some fire that just came in. Um, Ting Ting, and she's actually the editor for our Chinese version of the fanzine.
Yep.
And La Laurentop, who is coming in soon with music and everything Deploy. So all of these people are people that I'm inspired by, right?
Okay, interesting.
I think that's the biggest thing is like I'm truly inspired by each individual that comes into connection with the fanzine and this space that's developing within Deploy, this like atmosphere that's developing within Deploy. Yeah.
Would you say that's a criteria to work with Deploy?
Yeah, I mean,
I think I knew the answer to that, but I think it's interesting because it kind of links back to the value question.
Yeah.
That we managed to inspire.
Yeah. I mean, I think you have to, one, not be afraid to cause a little bit of trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Just a little bit. I mean, you don't have to say really offensive things in this space, but you have to, one, be able to take a joke. Definitely. I think that's a huge thing in Deploy. But then I think the most important thing is there's a purpose to each one of you guys.
Mm-hmm.
That's like a driving, like you can't turn it off in a person,
Okay.
I think with you, it's this, right? Like the iterations of developing the brand, developing your platform, and seeing now where it is. It's quite, for me, it's like a silent pleasure because that's the fuel that I see burning, and your energy. With Khalil, you can see his characters just starting to expand, and you can see his numbers as well starting to get more exposure. Um, and with Ting Ting, that's like fire just that's like a nuclear bomb waiting to take off, you know? And that's what I think is really inspiring about that is the purpose of that each individual brings into Deploy.
I get that.
Yeah.
You just mentioned something important that I want to, how do you say, rebondir on it. Numbers. How important are numbers for you and Deploy?
Hey, it's so funny because actually we don't give a fuck about numbers. You know,
How does that work?
well, you know, everyone is playing this game, right?
Yeah.
And that's a part of the revolution. Is like, if we have two people watch our video, that is enough effect to have. We don't need anyone approving us. We're very grateful. Okay, I have to say this. We're very grateful for the platforms that are here today. Substack, YouTube, Spotify. We are very, very grateful because that's giving us a platform to be able to compete
Absolutely.
with everyone else, even though we may not necessarily have the funding for now, but we're able to compete at a level in which we have these free platforms that are willing to platform us. When it comes to numbers, we love the data. I mean, behind the scenes, you and I know what's happening behind the scenes. There's a whole research institute that is trying to understand interaction, which is a whole other thing.
Whole other topic.
But numbers, no, everyone is going to have to platform themselves. It's just that we are just getting ahead of the game and trying to build what might be another platform for people to share their creativity.
And if you don't mind, I'd like to go back to a conversation we had yesterday, which links to numbers, to mental health, and to pleasure.
Yeah.
Because we were having this conversation and saying that there is something very healthy about not caring about numbers. One, because we're doing it for the joy of doing it. And I think that's something you can never take away from people. But I think as a psychologist, I can see the damage that it does to be waiting on those numbers and as if the numbers was the only way to validate what you're doing. So I think that's another important value, maybe that we didn't touch on before, because obviously there's loads. I don't know if you want to add something on that matter.
Yeah, I mean, this is one major value of Deploy. It's like we are probably creating the game. We're not playing the game. Like we're creating a new space in which print can resurface. One, print, our fanzine, it can resurface where you're meeting identities that you may not ever have had the opportunity to meet. And then also the numbers thing is, and you know me, we don't even know if these numbers are true. There's no regulatory thing happening there. So for us to care about numbers is in a way depreciating the art. The art is not created for someone to actually say, "Oh, well, you know, it's the art's not created to be to say, oh, it's going to be sold for $5 million." The art is created out of something emotional, some kind of response to trauma, could be, to happiness, to any kind of emotion or experience. And after that, most artists could give a flying
Que sera, sera.
yeah. Yeah. So I think that's another thing that the platform and that makes it a bit rebellious. It's like, well, thank you for being a creator first. Thank you for allowing your art to be platformed first. Now, if the artist is interested in that, that's their thing. But I think what we do here at Deploy is we get them prepared. We give them platforms like mine and yours to actually be seen, right? And then after that, it is their world. And they will always be cared for and loved and supported from this platform. That's, I think, the center part of the reason why Deploy has begun to have a little bit of exposure. No?
What you've just said, those keywords, to me, it immediately brings to mind the word community.
Community.
Do you want to tell us a little bit more about that?
Well, hey, I'm not the best at community. I'm like a hermit, okay? So I try to keep max 3 people around me at a time. No, I'm joking. Yeah, I mean, it's so interesting. Well, one, there's something really important about community in this current environment, this current state of the world that we're living in.
Okay.
Two, media is fluctuating like no tomorrow. No one knows who to trust, what to trust, how to trust it. So it is time for alternative media sources like Deploy, like the platforms that we're putting together, to submerge and say, hey, to surface and actually say, hey, look, we're a guerrilla style company that is surfacing to say that, hey, your voice can be heard here. And the only way to build a community is to have some central value. That value. Why did I say value like that? Value,
because it's important.
Some central value, and our value is revolution. Unfortunately, it's evolution too, but it's revolution. And the thing that sets us apart from our competitors is that we do curate. We curate the artists, the people who come through here. Everyone is welcome to submit their work, but there is a curation process of how we put ourselves out there and say, this is our alternative media opinion of freedom of speech, of freedom of expression, of freedom of creativity. These are kind of the central values of what creates the community, in essence.
And another value that really kind of struck me. Was that Deploy is a family-friendly company. And especially when you say about being rebellious and this and that, sometimes it may seem counterintuitive. And actually, I think it's something that's so deeply ingrained in you. And then you just let that transpire in the whole company. So I'll let you just say a little bit more about that.
So all of my powerhouse friends are single moms, right? All of my powerhouse friends are single moms, and I've seen it. Now, my own personal story is my mom raised 4 intelligent Black men.
Beautiful.
Thank you, Mom. To be respectful, honorable men, right? So that was already a soft space for me. Like, I wanted to make sure that the women in this community feel supported, feel understood, and feel loved. Okay. And because for me, it's like seeing what my mother went through to provide for us, to put food on the table. Yeah, she had a lot of support from her family too, right? But seeing this woman make it, push it, feed us, get us into sports, get us into educational programs. It was a central value of supporting women who are creative as well, supporting women as a role as a man too.
Yeah.
As kind of like this, I don't want to sound like cliche, but like the protector, the overcoat. So yeah, should I do we are family friendly business, and we operate on a space in which you feel free to put your family first.
There's something very organic.
Yeah.
And very respectful, I would say, from what I get. Working with you, how I see you acknowledge and integrate other people's the artist's reality. They might have just moved country, they might have mental health issues, and retreat. If you yourself are on retreat so many months or weeks a year, I think it's very permissive for the artist as well. And I just wanted to add that because I think it just adds a very concrete kind of, this is what it looks like to be family friendly.
Oh, thank you.
What are your ambitions for Deploy? Tell us a little bit about the future,
Man, I mean, I think there are some things. I love that question because you know what's going on. There's a few things that are happening right now. So currently the fanzine is translated into 3 other languages: French, Spanish, and Chinese.
Okay.
And there are a few other languages we're looking at to expand it so people have access to the Deploy content. We're also working on a music label, so that's coming soon, we think. And we want to platform as many creatives as we can. So there's publishing, that is another tier of it. We publish books, we publish wow, any kind of literary works. And then this, we have media training that we help people like learn how to interact with this, learn how to be learn how to talk into the mic. And then we also have like the bespoke services that are happening where people just don't know what they need and they come to us kind of like blah. And we managed to take the blah and create something out of the blah. So um, there's so many areas of just like open arm support for creatives. Is I think that's the center of what's to come. Actually, yeah.
I just want to tie back with the future ambitions and services of Deploy. Do you want to say something more about the fact that Deploy wants to be its own platform?
Yeah, I mean, there there is the digital realm that exists, and yeah, I mean, this is like currently being reviewed and being a maybe a possible competitor for content creators, to be a platform for content creators. And so, yeah, that would be very, very cool. I'm actually super excited about it. I'm like, wow, this might be a really cool thing to have a platform that is centered around creatives, that's centered around um, uh, art, design, architecture, mental health, writing, journalism, fashion, design, welding. These are all to me creative endeavors. Poetry.
Yeah.
That's something that's in the works. Yeah, is this digital platform that
Digital platform as an alternative to mainstream well, we don't need to name them, we've talked about them before.
Yeah.
I think that's another value. It's saying maybe it is possible to exist outside of that realm for our reasons, our values. It could be other reasons for other people, but yeah, the possibility is there, and the intention is to take more and more space.
Yeah. Why not? I mean, there's so many really brilliant ideas that were tossed around. I'm not. I think you remember when we were talking about deploy spaces. We were like, how do we get studio spaces to people?
Yeah, I remember that.
That was a really brilliant idea, And this is what actually happens in deploy. Like each person has their own value that comes into play, and we really do genuinely consider your ideas, right? However, it's really important that we continue to grow the community of people supporting this guerrilla style, like digital platform that's just kind of bursting at the seams. So, and I'm willing to take on the vision, the direction for it, and me coming out again.
Then I'm going to do the typical end of a business meeting question.
There we go.
What can I do for you? Or like, this is your opportunity to ask for something or to pitch. Like, what would you...
What do I have to say?
Yeah, what would you...
It's very, very simple, you guys. I have been a hermit for over the past 12 years. And you can check me out personally at Tremaine Thomas-Young on YouTube, Instagram, Substack, and RedNote, which is a Chinese platform. But also, you can find all that information with the creators and people who work with Deploy on deploy.com, deployunderground.com. And there's also all the platforms there. Go there, submit your work, and we are waiting for you. I think that's what I have to say, actually.
Okay.
We're waiting for you.
Is that our last word?
Yeah, yeah.
We are waiting for you. So I think there's no little or big project. I think that's very clear. Just anything, any questions are welcome.
Yeah.
All type of work, artwork, creativity is welcome. I think that was made very clear as well.
Yeah.
Well, it was a pleasure to have you, Tremaine.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Cool.
And we look forward to checking out your news and seeing you soon.
I'll see you guys soon.
Thank you. Bye now.
Bye-bye.
Well, thank you very much for listening today to Tremaine Thomas-Young. Don't forget to go and check the platform on www.deployunderground.com, and I will see you very soon.